Good afternoon. This is AM Dreamingstitcher here with a flosstube video that's a little different from my normal updates and such. This is not an update. I'm not even filming it on the third Sunday of the month as I usually do. I'm not sure if I will post it today or wait, but I wanted to do this video and see what I think of it and possibly post it. If you are a person who has ever, at any time, put a negative vote on my videos, or a person who thinks you might be inclined to be in a bad mood and put a negative vote today, please go away. You're welcome to come back next time. You're welcome to express yourself as freely as you want in the future, but this is not a video that I can take that on. If you're not interested, just be a human being. Go away. See you next time. The purpose of this video today, as you might guess from the title I plan to put on there, is to pay tribute to some people that meant very much to me, through showing you some of the things that have been stitched for them over the years. When I did last come to you on the third Sunday of July, I told you that the parent who has been ailing since last fall was not doing well, and I can now say that both of my parents have passed. They are no longer with me. As with most people who are fortunate enough to have had parents who they loved and who loved them in return, that obviously really hurts. I'm not putting this up to look for your sympathy. I'm putting this up as kind of a tribute to them, to tell you a little about them and how that was expressed through needle art. It isn't even all my needle art. The first piece I plan to show you was something that was done for my mother by my grandmother that meant enough to my mother that she asked me to frame it for her, and we did that, and it was hanging in their home. I want to go through each of the pieces. There are not that many. I don't anticipate this being a very long video, but it's my way of thinking about them. It's my way of sharing them a little bit with the world, I guess, even though it isn't them. I don't know. We'll see if I even like this when it's done. But I said I would start with something that was made for my mother. My grandmother did this piece. Obviously, it's from the late 60s or the early 70s. It was, as you can see, it's based on astrology, her star sign, zodiac. And I did frame it for her. It's very tight in the frame. I realize that. It would have been prohibitively expensive to get an even larger frame than this. This, I believe, is about 16 inches by 20 inches. And you can tell she was Gemini. The colors are really washed out today. It is an incredibly gray day. There is no way to get any sunshine into this video today. There is one odd thing going on, I guess because of the age of the stitching. I'm not sure if you can see it, but on the mat there's some gritty stuff that I think is shedding from the threads. I don't know what material they were, and that was certainly not there when it was framed, but they seem to be, as I said, shedding a little bit inside the frame between the mat and the glass. These colors are really very astonishingly bright. The yellows and the oranges are straight, and the greens are straight out of the late 60s, early 70s. I think late 60s. The style is very 60s. People like to create pieces that they call retro. Retro is never really retro. It's always a contemporary take on some of the elements of past designs. This is the authentic thing. I don't know that it would fly very well today because it's real vintage, not just imitation vintage. But there we go. That was done by my grandmother, clearly embroidered, not cross-stitched, for my mother. Tells you a little something about her. Another piece that I have to show is something that I did for my mother, much later, obviously, than my grandmother. This piece, I think, is from a book that I believe was called something like Bookmarks Galore, Birthdays Galore, something like that. I believe it is still in print and still available. There's a different bookmark for each month. Again, the colors in this lighting are very washed out, but it's quite a bright, cheerful pinks and reds. The birth flower for June that I made and gifted to my mother and retrieved after her passing. I think she kept it, as I recall, I think I found it in her Bible. I made other small pieces, mostly for my parents. I gifted things to many other relatives and friends over the years. I didn't really make that much for my parents. But here are a couple of little pieces that I made for my father and did up as Christmas ornaments. They are shells from the series by Jeanette Cruz called One-Nighters. I had thought there were at least 3. I may be misremembering. This was all I could find. We are cleaning out the parents' home now, and I came up with these 2. Many of you have talked about your beautiful opalescent fabrics now, or things that have shine added to them. This was a little more obvious back in the day. They just wove gold or silver metallic right into the Aida fabric. And my father was a shell collector. This obviously is a nautilus. Here we have some kind of conch type shell. Oh, I'm going to have to pause. Excuse me. Sorry, as you might have guessed if you couldn't hear it, that was the telephone. A lot of calls, when someone passes, there's a lot going on. Anyway, whatever shells these are, my father did collect shells. That's why I made these for him. And I don't know if there was a third, but that was them. Something else that I made for my parents that I think I may have shown you in an earlier video, it's quite likely, would be these Christmas ornaments. This little dog, cat, dog, I don't know which is which. This little dog, I did change the coloring on to make her look more like our little dog, and our little dog did look bent like that. Her name was Cassie. I don't know if I told her story the last time I showed this or not. She had much smaller ears than that, though. I didn't know how to rechart the ears. It should have been an easy thing. But anyway, Cassie used to leap very high in the air. She could jump over the short gates on the side of the yard. She was full of energy. She ran all over the place. But my sister took her out to visit with the horses on a regular basis, and one day her leash got wrapped around a horse leg while the horse was being shod, I think it was, and the horse pulled and snapped Cassie's little neck, and the farrier gave her CPR, and they took her to the vet, and the vet said there was spinal cord damage, and so we weren't sure if little Cassie was going to recover, but over time she gradually improved. We told her the goal was that she could no longer pitifully drag herself across the floor of the house by her nose. She had to get well enough to walk out the door so that she could, do what dogs need to do outside. And she did eventually get to that point and was fine and lived another 5 years, I think. She spent about half of her life as this springy, jumping, happy dog, and half of her life as an equally happy but much more crooked little thing. But she was healthy, she was happy, and she looked a lot like that little animal there. And the other one, I think I probably also told you her story. She was my dad's favorite kitty. Her name was Tawny. And she was incredibly clever, the smartest cat we've ever had. I can't even give you examples. You just knew the little gears in her head were working all the time. And when we brought her home, she was tiny, tiny. My father got her from a friend's house. He went to see the widow of a friend who was cleaning things up on their property. And the widow's son had a batch of kittens out in the barn where he was cleaning up, and he brought this little one out in a box and handed her to my parents and said, "You need to take this one home." So they did, and they called her Tawny. And the vet x-rayed her because she had various birth deformities isn't the right word, but interesting congenital issues. And one of the things he said was that she pretty much had no sinus passages to speak of in her head. It was a very solid little skull, just enough that she could be put on prednisone for her entire life, and that would reduce any inflammation in the passages she did have so that she could breathe. And she lived a long time. She was about 17 when she passed. And so I made that ornament in honor of her and gave it to my parents. A couple more small pieces and then one big one. This obviously is not stitched. I show this to you because it was my father's habit to take little pictures he liked. I think this was a card or something that came in the mail, and just frame them up and put them on the wall if he cared for them. This obviously got knocked down and broken, and rather than getting rid of it or reframing it, they just filed it away in a drawer, whatever, put it away for safekeeping. But I knew he liked it, so I stitched this for him. This is from a booklet that I showed you in an earlier video called the Omni Book of Winged Things. It was by, I believe, Jeanette Cruz Designs. And you can see that they based it off of the photograph. It was a somewhat famous photograph for its time. And there's the stitched version of the fellow, and my dad kept this hanging by his closet, actually, in the bedroom for many years. And another piece that I have shown you before, relating to the collecting habits and interests of multiple family members of mine, is this piece with the trilobites. I linked this previously. It was from, I think, a blog spot called Fish Mouse Stitches, and she designed these, and I stitched them on the same sort of apparel linen that I'm using on my other piece that I've been showing you ongoing. And so they might be a little stretched out, but hey, come on, they're trilobites, you can't tell. Each one is supposed to be a specific species. And the final thing I have to show you, I told you this would be a short video, but the phone call really got me off a little bit there, so I'm not sure if I've said all the things I would have said otherwise. But the last piece I have to show you is a large one that I did for my father. It's from an Elsa Williams kit. I can't get it all in the frame here, but you can see it's a big one, and it's on linen. It was a kit, and you can see it has all these beautiful vessels. My dad loved ships and sailing and the sea, and so I made that for him. It's got metallic threads in it too that you can't really see from where you are, but it adds a little bit of glitter to it. A little bit of pretty gold, so the gold frame kind of goes with that. Sorry, those just fell over. And I don't know, I just wanted to show you those because I'm not sure when I'll be back with a normal update video. I honestly have not stitched a thing since my last video because of what was going on with parent. I didn't stitch for several days before that either. I want to stitch, but there's so much going on. We do have to clean up the house. As I've told you all before, I am the one that lives close, so I'm the one that needs to take care of business. And between work, there's a lot of stuff going on at my job, and this housekeeping and stuff. I don't know. I will be back to flosstube sometime. I know it won't be the third Sunday of August because we've already scheduled that it's very likely my sister will come out on that weekend to help me. I think the only way I can deal with the house cleaning and work at the same time is to confine the major stuff where I need an extra person's help to about one weekend a month, and that's when she'll be coming out. But you'll see me eventually, and I will. Stitching is so relaxing. Stitching really helps. I've only watched a little floss tube. That would help too, but I need something to take my mind off of things. But that was, showing you those things was just my way of sharing a little bit about my parents, what interested them, what they were like. My mom would have loved the Mirabilias. I think I can safely say that. It's not something I would stitch. Had she seen one and expressed an interest, I probably would have tried to make it for her. But she always dressed so beautifully and loved clothes. She actually worked in the fashion industry. She was not a model, but she was a representative and traveled around the country. They were both really special people, and I'm going to miss them terribly. Yeah, but that's the way life is. Anyway, I'll see you when I see you. Thank you for your attention. If you did sit through this and you didn't like it, please be nice enough not to say so this time around. Come back next time, as I said at the beginning, and give me all the negative remarks and thumbs you want, but this is not the time for it. Y'all have a good day in your lives and enjoy your stitching. That's what it's there for, to make us feel better and to make beautiful things and to share with others. Bye.